The world's greatest podcast in America. John Reed here in Tennessee. Cody McClure no longer in California?
I'm not in California at the moment. I'm at a Holiday Inn in New Mexico.
What do you mean at the moment?
Well, at the moment, I'm at a Holiday Inn in New Mexico. Yesterday, I left out of Los Angeles.
So at the moment means no, you're gone. You've left California. At the moment implies that you're going back. You're headed east, is my understanding, no?
Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to make sure everything's clear. Am I loud and clear?
I won't say clear, at least, on the picture, but I think you're fine. Don't worry about it. Let's just make the best of it. I'll tell you if it gets super shitty. Yeah, I'll tell you if it gets super shitty, but
okay.
You're on the road, baby. This is road tripping. You are in New Mexico.
I'm on the road. I'm in New Mexico.
One of the only 25 podcasts in New Mexico, I've heard.
Yeah, there's probably not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of people here in general. I mean, you got like three cities here. I mean, you got Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and then Las Cruces, which I'm not far from Las Cruces. I'm a little bit west of there.
So you left out of California yesterday?
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to leave yesterday, but I told you I've just been kind of applying for jobs and stuff wherever. I applied for a bunch of stuff in LA and a bunch of stuff in Austin, and I think I got something that's come through in Austin. So they want me to be there to take a drug test. And so okay. I only had 48 hours to do that, and they let me know that yesterday morning. And so I thought, well, I'll just get on out of here and take a bit of a whim and hope that I get this job.
Did you clean up?
Did I clean up what?
Your hostel.
Not really. I mean, I packed all my shit and I took a towel and wiped off the TV stand and the sink and rinsed the shower out, and I actually swept the floor. But I wouldn't say that I cleaned anything necessarily.
And you got your stuff and you left. All right, what's the job in Austin that called you?
I got my shit and I left. Well, it's delivering packages for this company through, I think it's like through Amazon. So
okay.
I'm taking a bit of a chance by just going ahead and going through with it. But even if it doesn't come through, I've got more prospects in Austin than I did in LA. And so, I'm not really a superstitious kind of person, like thinking that the signs come from the universe or whatever, but maybe they do. All I know is that 2 nights ago, I found a place in LA. It was a nice room for like $630 something a month. And I was like, there's no way this is going to come through. And then by the next morning, it had gotten snatched up. And at the same time, the Austin job thing kind of came through. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave and we'll take a chance here. Columbus did, see what happens.
Columbus got lost.
Columbus took a chance and it paid off for him. Now he's got a holiday named after him now.
We were so close to you getting gutted and murdered with your organs being sold on the black market in that $600 room.
No, it was like, you wouldn't believe, it was a really nice place. It was like out in wine country. It wasn't even in LA. It was in a small town called Temecula, which is like halfway between LA and San Diego. And it's a beautiful house, beautiful room, like everything was perfect about it. And I thought, oh, hell yeah, things are finally going to work out here. I'm going to get this room. And that was at like 2 a.m. And when I woke up at 9 a.m. the next morning, it was gone. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a sign from the universe. Maybe maybe it's just not supposed to work out here,
Why the hell would you go to sleep before booking the room?
I don't know. I thought, it'd be there the next morning. I don't know. Plus I needed to move some money over probably. And I don't know. I just thought it'd be there.
Sounds like you didn't want to be in LA.
It's not that I didn't want to.
Sounds like you made it happen. And of course I know where Temecula is. That's the city where the guy tried to fight a blogger on Twitter on Christmas Eve, or it was either Christmas Eve or Christmas night, over Kobe Bryant's honor.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Meet Me in Temecula is a popular internet story. You can Google it afterwards. But yeah, two guys were arguing online about Kobe Bryant, and it led to one guy telling the other he's going to beat his ass, and then them agreeing to meet in Temecula, but then the one guy didn't show up.
Apparently, it's also where Olivia Rodrigo's from.
I didn't know that, but now I do.
I saw on the Wikipedia, I was looking at the town, and I looked at the notable people from Temecula. It was like Olivia Rodrigo, and then, the comedian Taylor Tomlinson. She's from there.
The third person could have been you.
Could have been, but I left. So
you're going to go drive trucks in Austin. You're going to drive like a delivery van?
I think it's a van.
Yeah.
Look, it's not.
Me and my friend who worked for Amazon looked into this. So like Amazon will hire these companies to basically run packages for them whenever I guess their own fleet can't handle it or whatever. Like, and he works at Amazon, so he kind of had the inside track. And we had briefly talked about trying to do this. So like, I assume you're working for a company like that, right? That just gets contracted out by Amazon that will then hire people and pay them
and it's
X amount of dollars per hour.
It's not like 100% that I have the job, but all I got, the background check cleared, the driving record cleared, everything cleared other than the drug test. That's all I've got left. And they basically already sent me like a welcome letter thing. So, I mean, I'd say we're at like 95%.
Well, your pee is going to be clean, right? You're not doing any drugs out in California, right? You said you've been sober.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what all they test for, but in the last 2 weeks or so, I mean, all I've done is heroin, cocaine, crystal meth, and bath salts. So
but not for 2 weeks?
Right. So as long as it doesn't test for any of those things, I'll be fine.
Yeah, hopefully the 2 week thing, it clears out of your system by then.
No, I'm clean. I'm clean. I mean, I haven't even had any weed in like a month, which, weed does stick with fat people more. Some would consider me to be fat, and THC sticks to fat cells. I don't know if you've heard of this, but guys like me actually have more THC in them.
What do the other people consider you?
The ones that don't consider me fat?
Yeah, what do they consider you?
Morbidly obese.
Hey,
what is Frank barking at?
I don't know. He's in one of his moods. He's got a new little Amish boy haircut. I took him to the groomer. Hey, enough. I'm trying to work here. Don't make me close the blind. Don't make me close the blind and shut you off from the world. I'll put you in that cage.
You will not.
I'll get the newspaper.
He's calming down now.
Well, if the job doesn't work out, at least you're headed back east, which was your goal ultimately anyway. So you got a job, most likely, 95%, Butch Jones on the 5-yard line. What about living arrangements?
I don't have anywhere to live yet. We're working on that.
So you're literally going to be living out of your car. The meme is coming to existence. You are literally going to be living out of your car in Austin.
I don't know if I can live out of my car because it's packed full of stuff. So I don't even know if that'll work. So
you're going to park your car and get under a bridge and live under a bridge.
There's some cheap options to rent out rooms. I might have to share a bathroom for a little while before I can get my own place. But the main thing is just I felt like I had to go where there's work. And I just haven't had any luck in LA with getting a real job. Nobody will hire me. They the standard is you have to be beautiful to work in LA, to have a job. And anywhere that I applied, they said, we don't hire your kind of person here. All that liberal stuff about, acceptance and all that bullshit, that really doesn't fly in California like you think it does. minorities like me don't get hired. So
who could have ever seen this coming? You moving out to LA and it being just I don't want to call it a disaster because I don't think it's a disaster, but who could have seen this coming and said, I don't know if this is such a good idea.
Well, I had to live it. I knew the traffic was a problem. I knew the gas prices were a problem, but I just had to make sure that I couldn't make it. You know what I mean? So
this is like when someone meets their hero and their hero's an asshole. This is how I feel about you today. You have always romanticized Tinseltown. You have always wanted to live in LA, and you went out there and you realized it fucking sucked.
I wouldn't say it sucked. I mean,
it was just say it. It fucking sucked.
No, there's a lot of things I still like about LA. It was just a little too hard for a poor person. It's a hard town if you're not rich. There's not a big middle class in LA. It's you're rich or you're poor pretty much. Working class people struggle. And I'm the epitome of the working class man.
I don't think you can say that because you don't really work.
I don't rule out going back to LA someday. I mean, I like LA. There are things that suck about it. I mean, the traffic and the fucking gas prices really did a number on me. And I know that's the stereotype about it, but like I said, I had to experience it to see just how bad it was. But
I know. You're like the person who met its hero, and its hero was a fucking asshole.
Well, I wouldn't say it was awful. It's just bittersweet, but I got through the winter and I left yesterday and I was sad for a little while. Like, maybe I should have stuck around and tried to make it and tried harder and whatnot, but I just couldn't find work. And I had this job lined up in Austin, and I just feel like that's probably going to be a better training ground for me until I become a star. And then once I become a star, then I can go back to Hollywood if I want to, because I'll be able to get a place in the hills. And that's really where you want to be in LA. You want to be in the hills. You don't want to be in the fucking valley. You don't want to be in these little shit towns that, I want to be a star. So I'll go back to LA when I'm a star. But until then, we're just going to focus on the work. And I think Austin's going to be a better training ground. At least I hope so.
Now, what the hell am I going to do with the outro to this podcast?
Leave
what
it.
What the hell am I going to do?
People love that song. Let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West.
That's not what the song is.
Which one is it? I thought it was California Love. What is it? Is it Biggie going back to Cali?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I forgot which one it was, but anyway. Yeah, I mean, you can leave the song. Song's fine. Nobody writes songs about Austin.
Blake Shelton did.
Well, that's going to be a shitty song to be the outro to the podcast.
I know. That's why I'm sitting here wondering what the hell am I going to do?
Now let me welcome everybody to... God damn it, I love Dr. Dre. How do you not love Dre?
Is there a song about leaving California?
Yeah, there's a lot. When I left town, I listened to L.A. Freeway by Jerry Jeff Walker. You ever heard that one?
No, I don't think so.
Also, there's Billy Joel's Say Goodbye to Hollywood. Say goodbye to Hollywood.
I'll put Eminem. Baby. I'll put Eminem saying goodbye to Hollywood on there. There we go.
My last
saying
day,
goodbye to Hollywood.
My last day in L.A., which I didn't know would be my last day, but it ended up being. I went to the Autry Museum. You know, cowboy singer Gene Autry. Well, anyway, it's a cool museum. I was going to talk about it on the podcast. It's like a Wild West museum. It talks about the West's representation in film. And there's a lot of like cowboy. You would actually, if you would fucking do something besides drink and watch basketball when you go out there, I think you would actually appreciate it. There's a lot of cowboy stuff in there. There's a lot of there's chuck wagons.
What?
And there's
a fucking hat. Oh, look, here's Pecos Bill's hat. This is what he wore. Who cares? Who gives a shit?
It's historical. They got Billy the Kid's rifle in there. There's a whole gun exhibit.
Wow, Billy the Kid's rifle? That we are 100% sure is actually his rifle? Wow.
It is, or it wouldn't be in a museum. They've got Wild
We
Bill.
knew at the time that he was going to be worthy of having his rifle retired in a museum. Whoa. Absolutely not.
Why don't you have a little appreciation for the history of your country?
All I got to do is find some old stuff, and I can 30 years from now go and say it's so-and-so's and put it in a museum, and normies like you will come flock to it and be like, oh, my God.
It's very...
This was his handkerchief?
It's very disrespectful.
He used this as a cum rag?
They also have Wild Bill Hickok's handgun in there. And the largest...
Wow.
It's like the largest Colt collection in America. Like revolvers, you would think that somebody that worked on a ranch for a good amount of his life would have an appreciation for these kind of things. They got chuck wagons in there where they show you what the cowboys ate, and they got like beans and
it sounds like I'm watching a fucking Oklahoma Sooner and Texas Longhorn Red River rivalry. That's what it sounds like. I see the little wagon they pull around. I see the guns they shoot. It's fine. I've seen it enough. I've watched a Western. I don't need to go to a museum.
They talk about the Western expansion of the United States. They've got a lot of very interesting exhibits. And they have an exhibit on salmon. Did you know that when a salmon is born, that it lives like a third of its life is lived in the ocean, but then it comes back to the stream that it was born in? When it's older in life, it comes back to the stream. And they don't know how the salmon get back to their stream. They don't know how they find their way back. It's like a mystery. But every salmon that is born, his journey is out to the ocean for his adult life. And then as he gets older, he comes back to his stream inland, and he has kids with another salmon. He makes salmon babies, and then he dies. And there's a lot of other exhibits that are very neat.
Now, how the fuck do they know this? Have they put cameras? Have they put cameras on salmons? Has someone tracked one salmon all throughout its life and gone to the depths of the ocean with it and watched it swim back to the stream? How do we know?
It's a nice break from the city. The Autry Museum's right there in Griffith Park. You can eat at the little Mexican place. You can go to the Autry Museum, then you go up to the observatory if you want. Will you promise me one thing? When you go for the Sweet 16,
I made my arrangements last night. I got my room and board secured.
If you do one thing, at least go up to the Griffith Observatory and enjoy the views. I'm telling you, if you do one thing at all, go up there and look at the view of the city on a good, clear day.
I don't need to go up there and look at go find me a chuck wagon. I don't need to get a glimpse at it.
Well, they have horse riding adventures, but you're not going to do that. Obviously, you don't appreciate the history of our great country. So
no, I'm just opposed to horse ranches and the touristic things they do in California. Charles Manson, ran a horse farm, and I don't support that. I don't support that.
Yeah,
I don't support it.
That's up around Woodland Hills, northwest corner of the valley. It's called Spa Ranch or Spa Ranch, something like that. You can't really get access to it unless you hike, though, and I didn't hike to it. I just drove by it. But just promise me you'll go to the Griffith Observatory. At least get a nice view of this from the hills.
I'll go, Lord willing, before.
Goddammit. Promise me.
I'll go, Lord willing, before I die.
Unbelievable.
Maybe it'll be on trip number 4 or 5 to L.A., but most likely not on trip number 2 to L.A.
Unbelievable. Where are you?
So I'm not going to promise you.
Where are you?
I got a friend out there. I told you, my friend. I got a friend.
Where does he live? You never introduced me to your friend. Maybe he could have got me a job.
Yeah, perhaps.
Thanks a lot. Where does he live?
I don't know. In the city. I don't know where.
I mean, is he rich?
No.
You don't know what neighborhood he lives in?
I mean, no, I don't know what neighborhood he lives in. I don't know what neighborhoods are out there.
Where does he work?
I know he lives in L.A. I know when he came to the music festival with me, it took him like 40 minutes to get back home from Pasadena. I don't know. He works in like the entertainment industry.
What company?
I don't know.
Jesus Christ. What's his name?
Brian.
Well, ask him what neighborhood he lives in.
I'll text him later, and I'll ask him right now. It's 9:30.
Where did you stay? Where did you stay last time you were there? Pasadena?
I stayed at a hotel in Pasadena, like a couple miles away from the music festival.
So you didn't even go into L.A.?
I mean, I got off in LAX.
And you took the 710 freeway?
I drove around LA.
Did you drive down
a little bit?
Skid Row, see the homeless?
No.
Yes, you want to stay away from downtown. It is going to be good. One thing I'm looking forward to is to be back in a normal time zone.
I'm not actually texting him and asking him what neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I get there for the Sweet 16. I'll send you a picture.
Well, the Autry Museum was cool. And also I drove to yesterday I drove through Joshua Tree before the South Carolina game tipped off.
Uh-huh.
And that was cool. What condescending remark were you about to make? I don't give a fuck what national park you went to. Is that what you're going to say? It's a very pretty area. Again, I believe it was one of the Roosevelts. Was it Teddy? It said national parks are America's greatest idea. Or was that FDR? Somebody said that. I don't know. Our finest idea, I think they called it. But I'd never been to Joshua Tree, so I knocked that off my list. That was beautiful. And anyway.
Well, I'm glad you got to say goodbye to LA.
And I saw my last day in LA, another thing I saw was a man spread his entire ass apart and show me his hole. He was standing on the street corner and literally was just bent over, spreading his ass cheeks completely apart. And I thought, wow, Hollywood, what a place to be. Fitting that was my last day.
Did you take a picture?
I tried to. I circled the block, circled back around, but he was gone. He vanished into the evening sun.
I was picturing you being on the street walking by him and him doing this. So you were in your car. Did he know that he was giving you a show, or was he just doing it and you happened to see it?
I don't think he knew a lot about anything in his surroundings. I think he was mentally ill. But anyway, yeah, like I said, though, it's good. It's going to be good to be back in a regular time zone. That's another thing about out there, watching the basketball games and stuff. Everything started at like 4:00. And that's just, I got to be a little closer to Eastern time. I think Central time would be a good spot for me. So,
did you watch last night?
I listened to Bob and Bert. I couldn't watch it because I was driving. But I listened to the whole game, of course.
What's it like listening to an entire game on the radio these days?
It's
with
not
technology
bad.
At your fingers.
It's not bad. Bob, basketball, Bob's better at basketball, I think, than he is football. He gets a little more into it. It's a little more exciting. And Bert, he gets very excited. So, money! Every time a three gets made, it's money. If I hear Bert say money, I know things are going well.
And it made you feel like you were at home?
Well, no, it made me feel like I was in the Palm Desert.
Well, how do we sound?
Who, the team?
Yeah. How do we sound? Usually if somebody watches the game, you ask how'd they look. So how do we sound?
It sounded to me like we won an SEC championship. I've got my orange shirt today, my bright orange Tennessee polo shirt, getting ready to take a shower, get out of this hotel. I'm going to wear that today on my drive.
How far are you driving today?
Austin.
Well, how far? How long is the drive?
Somewhere between probably 9 and 10 hours.
Getting kind of a late start for that. You're getting kind of a late start for that long of a drive, ain't you?
I don't know. I had to do the podcast.
That is true. Thank you for keeping your commitment to me. Well, what do you want to talk about?
It's a commitment.
We caught up to you. We know you're leaving. The people are sad. People are happy, though. They're pointing out that I suggested you become a truck driver, and very quickly you have moved on to becoming a van driver. So,
well, I applied for this before you said that, but all my algorithm is like delivery driver stuff. That's pretty much all the jobs I get.
You're one step closer to becoming Doug Heffernan.
Who's that?
It's Kevin James from King of Queens.
Oh, yeah.
You're one step closer.
Driver.
Now you just need to find you a IPS. You need to find you just a crazy little Scientologist to marry and be mean to you.
I left Hollywood. That's where all the Scientologists are.
Yeah, maybe you'll find one in Austin too, though.
Possibly. I don't know. We're just, we're on to the next step. On the next step on the journey. I'm going to see how.
You don't sound excited.
I'm excited, but it's bittersweet. It's, I had a love-hate relationship with California. It's bittersweet. I get sad anytime I leave somewhere because I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever be back here. I got sad when I left Knoxville. I always get sad when I leave my family back home. And I got sad when I left California. Part of it is excitement for the new thing, but also I have just a little bit of reserve every time. I'm not good with decision making, and I'm not good at doing new things, really. So when I do a new thing, I just get I second guess it,
Are you just a sad boy?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I'm not depressed, if that's what you're asking.
No.
Oh, speaking of depressing, did you see where that security guard beat that kid up at the tin roof off Munbrian in Nashville?
No. Tell me about it.
I saw it on the news, on the Nashville news. 20, I think.
Why are you watching the Nashville news?
Well, I saw it on my phone, on the Twitter. I follow the Nashville news accounts.
Okay. When I saw it on the news, I'm picturing you watching the news. That's what I think of when I hear that phrase. But anyways, go ahead. So tell me what happened.
It wasn't the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. It was just on my phone. But
I didn't know if you were streaming Nashville news somewhere. Just logging in to watch and feel like you're there.
Some kid, 26 years old, white, he got put into a coma apparently by a security guard outside of the tin roof on Munbrian, and is according to the news that I read. I mean, you might want to double check it, but I think his family pulled the plug on him because he was in a coma, and they chose to say goodbye to him or whatever. But this fucking security guard. Well, I shouldn't say this fucking security guard. I should say allegedly.
You better watch how you talk about him. If he killed this kid, he might find your ass too.
Well,
next time you're in Nashville.
I'm just going off the news story, but allegedly what happened was this security guard put him in a coma. And that's pretty wild,
Do we know any of the circumstances? Any details from the story?
That's all I read. I don't know. We can speculate if you want, but I don't know. I don't know if the kid was causing problems or if the security guard was a bad apple. You know what they say about security guards? Most of them are fine people, but there's a few bad apples.
You throw somebody out, there's going to be concrete out there. He probably fell and hit his head, I'm guessing.
That sounds possible, yeah.
Maybe he was throwing some punches too. I don't know. I'm just picturing somebody getting tossed out and landing on their head or something. But, man, I've been around some security guards that have beaten the hell out of people in bars and stuff. Cotton Eye Joe was notorious for that back in the day. I don't go there much anymore, but if they caught you acting up in there, they'd throw you around pretty good.
No, that
never happened to me, but I had some friends. No, I had some friends that happened to for sure. I never got mouthy in there because I was family friends with the owner, and I knew not to cross Gingy. But my other friends and the bouncers, they had some interactions for sure. Both big old boys, and both got put through the fucking wall.
Look, I don't mean to go after security guards or whatever because I've worked in security myself. I used to work some concert security. I'm not saying it's an easy job or a hard job, but some of these guys probably have a little bit of a complex, don't you think?
I'd say they also probably get tired of dealing with drunk assholes, too.
Yeah,
not to speak ill of the dead and say this kid deserved it. I don't know what happened. I'm just saying I've also seen some people at the bar acting like real dickheads, too.
That's fair, but I've also seen some security guards acting like real dickheads. I've had a few run-ins.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. For sure. I'm just not taking any side just yet. I've seen people act like dickheads on both sides, and I don't know what happened in this scenario. Now, obviously, you feel bad for the person that died.
To me, a security guard's kind of a wannabe cop who wasn't cut out to be a cop.
See, I don't know. I understand why you have that perception, but to me, a security guard could just be somebody that needs part-time work and didn't want to make a full career out of it, but like is fine with sitting on the weekends and checking IDs on the weekends and has another job during the day.
Yeah. Well,
like if you had gone, like if you had been security and you've been security, like were you a wannabe cop whenever you were working security yourself?
No, but I was a little bit of a bully back in those days.
So you weren't the wannabe cop. You were like, hey, I'm the former guy that peaked in high school with my high school football career, and I used to be the man, but now I have nothing to fill that void, so I'm going to become a security guard, and hopefully I can push people around like I push those undersized sophomores and freshmen around in football practice.
That's right. But now, see, we're talking a couple years removed from high school when I was a security guard, so it's not like I'm that guy now. You know,
right. But I'm saying at the time that was filling the void in your life.
Yeah, 20-year-old me was a little bit of there's definitely a little bit of that. So I think some of those, and again, not all security guards have that complex, but I think it's definitely a theme in that profession. And it's a few bad apples, you know. It just it's like with any other industry probably, but I think in something like that you're probably prone to get a few more bullies. That's just my opinion. But again, I don't know what happened with this kid, so I don't want to speculate. I don't know if he was causing trouble or what, but I put him in a coma, though.
Well, like I said, not everyone has the same path to things. Like if you got in security now when you got to Austin, it would just be you trying to make a couple extra dollars.
Yeah.
But then you would probably become jaded because drunk people would constantly be on your nerves. So the one time you got to really lay into somebody and toss them around and give them a gut punch, you'd probably take that opportunity.
Maybe. I don't know. I was more of a concert security guy, more so than bars. But, I met Shooter Jennings doing concert security.
That's another one of those things that I don't care anything about. Shooter Jennings. I got an email about, I guess there's another Jennings boy that is going to be, I guess it's Shooter's son. Does he have a son that does music?
I have no idea.
Because, Shooter's Waylon's son, right?
Well, yeah, and you know who Shooter has kids with, right?
No.
Oh, Adriana from The Sopranos, Drea De Matteo. We talked about her a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I don't know if I knew that or not, but yeah. I was thinking, okay, so I got an email that the grandson of Waylon and Jesse is doing music in Maryville at the Shed coming up, and I don't know if Waylon's got extra kids or not. I assume he doesn't just have one.
I think they've got two kids. Him and Adriana had two kids. So
okay,
her name's not Adriana, but that's how I see her. So, I saw her at the airport last summer, LAX.
You told me that.
Yeah. So I've seen both Shooter Jennings and her, and they procreated.
Whoa.
How fascinating.
Whoa.
I also worked security for Rick Springfield.
Jesse's girl?
Yep. And you talk about a guy that's got one hit because the entire show.
I was going to say, he plays that at the beginning and the end of his show, right?
Yeah. I don't think he did. I don't think he played it at the beginning of the show I worked, but he teased it the whole show.
Okay.
Like
maybe that's it.
They'd play the first couple chords or like whatever the opening riff is and like kind of tease the audience into, oh, it's time for Jesse's girl, and then he saved it up until the very end. But I didn't know any other song that Rick Springfield had.
Did you see where Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are going to box?
No. Is that
on
coming across?
On Netflix in July. This was announced around 9 o'clock a.m. 9 o'clock this morning. Yeah, they're going to box July 20th in Texas. Out in your neck of the woods.
I'll be damned. Everything's bigger in Texas. They do it bigger. Where at? What city? Texas is
Jerry's World, Arlington.
Oh, okay, Dallas, yeah. That's about 3 hours from Austin. Not that I would go to that anyway, but.
You wouldn't go?
To watch Jake Paul and Mike Tyson?
You don't care about it?
I'd go if you were taking me, or if somebody I knew was going and just wanted me to go with them, I'd go. But I wouldn't go by myself. I mean, I wouldn't travel there just to see it.
I'm much more fascinated with Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson than I am whatever museum you went to.
It's cowboy singer Gene Autry.
It's Mike Tyson. It's one of the best boxers of all time.
I just thought if anybody could appreciate a good country western singer, it'd be you.
I have been to Nashville at this point 75 times, probably 100 times. I don't know. How many times do you think I've gone to the Johnny Cash Museum?
0.
So if I won't go to Johnny Cash's museum, why the fuck would I care about Gene Autry's museum?
Does the Johnny Cash Museum have a salmon exhibit?
I don't know, because I've never been. I'm going to doubt it.
It was more than just country singer. Like I said, guns and saddles and all kinds of stuff.
Saddles? Well, I could see where the cowboys sat.
How about this? They had
Was that their rope that they used to lasso people with?
How about this? They had an exhibit where I don't like that face you're doing. They had an exhibit that shows the Wild West in movies. So it's like a cinema area of the museum where it shows stuff from movies that involve, like, you know, spaghetti westerns and cowboy movies, stuff like that.
I was going to say, I've already seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I get it. I understand.
Tombstone, Clint Eastwood, any of that?
Tombstone, great. What do I need to know? What did it have about Tombstone in there? Just a clip? Well, just a clip? I can watch YouTube myself.
No, artifacts. They got
That's his spurs that he had on his boots in that one scene? Oh, my God.
They have, you know... They have reading material where you read about...
That was the script, the pamphlet that they gave to people while they were shooting in town? Oh, my God. What reading material are you talking about?
You know, and just like they got things that tell about the, you know, fun facts. And I don't know, man. Museums are, I don't know.
It's the perfect ending to your sad California trip. It's the perfect ending. The only thing that could have been better was you jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Why would that be better?
Or getting shanked by your Croatian neighbors as you were moving out.
I am kind of glad to be getting away from those guys. I don't know what those guys are up to. Maybe it's another sign from the universe, but did you know that rain bookended my California trip? The first night I got there, it rained. And yesterday when I left, it was raining. Now, that's not to say the weather wasn't beautiful in between, because the weather is really that good. But it did rain on me. And I thought, you know, maybe that's a sign from the universe. Maybe I'm becoming religious. I don't know.
It's like rain on your moving day. Wow, so ironic.
Yeah. But
it rained. Now, but is that not a bad sign about your trip to Texas then? That it's raining on the day you moved to Texas? Is that not a bad omen?
Well, it's not raining today. It's sunny as hell here in New Mexico. I don't know what the weather is in Austin right now, but...
Can I tell you something that my mother said? Well, it came to my mind because as I see myself on this camera, she told me yesterday I'm very broad-shouldered. I was like, thanks, Ma. That's a nice compliment. She's like, you look big. And I was like, thanks, Ma.
I think what she meant is you look like a broad because your shoulders are so thin.
No, she said, well, it's a broad shoulder. She's like, wow, thanks, Ma. We went to eat lunch yesterday. Because I didn't tell you. She got bit by a dog. She got attacked.
Your mom did?
Yeah, she got attacked
what did she do?
Last week, like either Thursday or Friday. She got attacked. Well, you know she drives for UPS.
I know.
She's a driver.
What kind of dog? How big was the dog?
A pit bull mix and one of those big-ass cane corsos. A pit bull mix and one of those big-ass cane corsos got her down.
Oh, geez. Is she suing?
I told her to.
I mean,
because in Tennessee, you're liable for your dogs. I mean, I told her at the very least to get that one dog killed. Once those pit bulls get a taste of blood, you know, what happens if they kill some little kid or something? I was like, that's going to be on your conscience, Ma. And plus, the people who own the dogs were kind of assholes to her. So I was like, teach them a lesson. Fuck them, because the girl, the 20-year-old daughter, was acting like it was my Ma's fault for knocking on the door. And she's like, well, I got a package. I got to knock on the door. But either way, so she got bit and had to go to the ER last week. She's okay though. But
oh my God.
Well, yeah. No, she had to go get, like, I guess her rabies shot.
Where did it get her? In
on her ass, like up her, like from like the back of her knee up to like her ass, like it got her pretty good. Apparently, I don't know.
Was she bleeding? And like, I mean, it was a pretty good bite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Did she take pictures?
I don't know.
That's not what I'm getting at. I'm saying if she took pictures, she could maybe get some money out of it or something. I don't know.
I'm sure it's documented at the hospital, but I don't know. Anyways, I tell you that just because she didn't work, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday because of it. And then yesterday she was going to get, I guess, cleared from the doctor to return to work, whatever. Mm-hmm. Anyway, she wasn't working, so me and her went and got lunch after my show. And I was wearing
tomorrow.
And my birthday's tomorrow. And I was wearing basketball shorts and like a t-shirt. So like, hey, Ma, I was like, I'll get lunch with you, but we can't go somewhere too nice, blah, blah, blah. I was like, let's just go to Hooters, because we used to go there a lot when I was younger. Like she likes the wings there, and I like the burgers, and it's fun. Anyways, we go to Hooters. One of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. I was kind of amazed seeing it, but my mother ordered like a chicken. It's like almost like chicken wing salad from Hooters. Like you get a salad from Hooters, and then she gets it, and it doesn't look good, and it looks pretty small too. But she's eating on it. 5 minutes later, the girl comes up. We had a pretty good rapport with the girl. It was her birthday. I don't know if it was actually her birthday, but she's wearing one of those sachets. It's like, hey, it's my birthday. So, we were talking to her about that. And and anyways.
What kind of rack she have on her?
Solid. I mean, she was a petite girl, but she was cute. Anyways, yeah.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And my mom's like, how would you feel working here? And just, wouldn't you feel awkward? I was like, Ma, this is actually kind of respectable these days. I was like, that girl could probably just be an OnlyFans model and make way more money. Or I said, or go work at that trashy place, Twin Peaks. And she was like, what's Twin Peaks? So then I described Twin Peaks to her, and she was like, oh, I can just imagine how many creepy old men go in there. And I was like, well, actually, Cody was a frequent visitor there, and he actually thought a waitress liked him at one point.
She did. Yeah, we used to text a lot.
But anyways, so this waitress comes back up and says, how is everything? And this is the damnedest thing. My mother asked her for more lettuce for her salad.
What? That's the last thing.
She was like, the salad was small. Can I just get some more lettuce for my salad? And the girl was like, let me go check. And sure enough, she came back with a full salad plate of just lettuce and more ranch for her and said, when I was breaking it, I didn't think it had enough lettuce in it, so here you go. So my mom, I was like, she basically got 2 salads, and I was just like, this is a lesson in just if you want something, ask for it, because I never would have bothered someone to ask them for more lettuce in my salad.
That is an absurd request.
I'm sitting there laughing at her. It's like, what's so funny? It's like, I just can't believe you asked for more lettuce. She's like, there wasn't any in there.
I bet that's the only time that's ever been requested at Hooters. Can I get some more lettuce, please?
I would think so.
You'd think with like a house salad, you'd want more of the stuff that makes it good. It's like, hey, can I get some more cheese, some more ranch? But more lettuce. I've never heard of that.
And they brought it to her. They just bought her another salad.
Good for your mom. She's getting her greens in. You got to eat those greens. They say it's important.
But I'll text my mom and ask if she's got any pictures of her bruised and bloody ass.
That is not what I was getting at.
Tell her Cody wants to know.
It's not what I was getting at. But your birthday, do you have any big plans?
I'm going to go see Dune 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably go and eat my steak. I go eat me a steak every year now on my birthday. It's kind of
where are you going?
Something I do. No, I usually go to Chop House.
Oh, yeah, you're a Chop House man.
Yeah, that's where my dad used to take me on birthdays. So on my birthday and his birthday, I like to go and get me a prime rib and just kind of sit there and reminisce. But I'll probably do that after the show tomorrow, and then I'm going to go, like I said, see Dune 2. And that's it. I don't have any other plans. Saturday, I'm going to go to the basketball game, but that's it.
You going to dip your steak in the au jus?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love the au jus.
What's your favorite cut of beef?
I love prime rib.
Prime rib.
I like the fat you get with it, too. I just eat the whole thing. I don't leave a drop of my prime rib. All the fat goes down, too.
Yeah, nobody. You can't be leaving that fat. I mean,
yeah,
that's un-American. So would
I love prime rib.
Ribeye be your number 2 then, probably?
No, just a regular burger is probably my number 2.
Oh, okay. That's odd that you put the prime rib at 1 and then skip ribeye for burger. But
I mean, ribeye's fine, but I if you could ask me what I want, and you're like, any cow, I'd say I want a prime rib. And then if you said, okay, prime rib's off the table, what do you want? I would say just fix me a good burger. I'd rather have just a good burger.
You know, somebody told me that Ruth's Chris raised their own cattle, and that's why their steaks are so good. That's why their beef is as good as it is. I don't know if that's true, but I heard that.
I mean, I would say back in the day that happened. I mean, that's probably how that started. I mean, that's the same way as Mayfield's, right? I mean, they used to just sell their own milk, and then it became a huge, company, of course.
Yeah. I never got into the whole Mayfield thing. I was a Waggles man.
I grew up in Athens. That's where Mayfield's is located, so I was always partial. I was always partial to it in the big yellow jug.
Back in Arkansas, we had a company called Yarnell's, and they had the best homemade vanilla ice cream. And it's still a treat whenever I go home. But you got to get the homemade vanilla. You don't want to get that vanilla bean or regular whatever vanilla. Homemade vanilla. It's got kind of a yellowish tint to it. Tremendous ice cream.
I might get me a little ice cream cone tomorrow or a milkshake or something since it is my birthday.
Oh, treat yourself. A little ice cream cone.
Might get me a little treat. I got to be honest, though. I'm feeling pretty sad about my birthday. Feeling pretty sad just in general. This year, just feel older. Definitely no way around it now. Mid-30s. It's going to be number 34 tomorrow, so no way around it. Mid-30s. Still childless.
Right. You can be like Seth Rogen. At least you can cuddle with a woman in bed at 41. No kids to deal with.
Feels like at that point. It feels like at this point that's where I'm headed, right? It feels like 34, man. I mean, like, do I really want to have my first kid at 36 or 37? I feel like this might be it for me.
Once you turn 34 tomorrow, you'll officially be closer to 68 than you are the day you were born. That's pretty wild, isn't it?
Sure, I guess.
What do you make of these celebrities bragging about not having any kids, being childless, and then it seems like it really pisses off middle America. They're like, I love my kids. My family's the most important thing in my life. People get mad about that.
I don't think you automatically have to have that voice and be in favor of your children. I would say most of my
kids.
Well, I think you have to kind of have that mentality if you're in your kid's life.
Yeah, you should. You should. Not everybody does.
Like, if you're in your kid's life, there are plenty of people who had kids just like, I'm going to keep doing my thing. Kids' vibes kind of off, because I think that's the only way you can really justify it, because I do feel like kids are such a commitment that you have to, like, act like it's the best thing ever to justify, like, having your life ran and, being, so beholden to what they need and what you got to do for them. So, like, I don't blame either side.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about that, last week, this week, whenever. But, like, because Bob had to leave the Auburn game with 12 minutes left to go pick up his daughter. And then he said on Sunday he had to go to, like, a 2.5-hour play that she was in. And I was like, man, you're not really selling me on fatherhood here. But it's your responsibility. You're supposed to do it. If you're gonna be a parent, you got to be a good parent. So, like, you got to kind of drink.
Well,
you kind of got to drink the flavor aid there.
There's a lot of people that don't. There's a lot of people that would have just stayed at the game, So Bob's a good parent, obviously.
Right.
I mean, because you don't have to do that, I mean, I got left at practice a lot when I was a boy.
Yeah, no, I mean that was part of the reason that I didn't like play sports like past like I took a lot of my like 6th through 8th grade off just because both my parents worked so much and I lived out in the country and like I played in like the city. So it was a good 25-minute ride and like I wasn't old enough to drive. Mm-hmm. So like every practice was such a hassle getting to and from and I just felt like a burden. So like I'm just going to stay home and eat some chips instead. Going to stay home and play my video game. Jack off a couple times.
You felt like a burden? Did you?
Yeah, for sure.
Did you kind of feel like you just maybe would you say you didn't have the makings?
I didn't have the makings to ask them to come and get me or to because my dad would have had to come basically 35, 40 minutes away. And he didn't have a problem doing it, but working on the farm and buying and selling cattle, there were plenty of times where that doesn't go as planned and you have to, finish the job and, he'd be late picking me up or just, not be able to come get me. And my mom, she worked till 6 or 7 o'clock for UPS. So I'm not complaining about my parents. I had 2 great parents, still have 1 great parent, but it did kind of just feel like a burden, a hassle.
Yeah.
And I know it probably made them feel bad too, but now that I'm 34, which, I started doing the math, it's about the age that my dad would have had my sister, my younger sister. It's about the age that, he would have had a second kid. It played with me when I got to 32 because that's how old he was when I was born, and now I'm at the second kid almost already, and it feels harder and harder to be willing to give up my freedom, if you will. Quote unquote.
It's a different world that we live in now for sure.
Plus, it just seems so goddamn expensive. I didn't choose the right career field to do this. It feels like it's really expensive.
Do I seem like the kind of boy that would have been a burden on my parents?
You look like, if you're watching the video, there might be 4 people that get the reference, but when you do that, you look just like the guy on the Nathan For You finale. And there's the meme that's online when he's like, "Do I look like a stalker to you?"
I don't.
And he looks exactly like a stalker when he asks. That's how you look whenever you say, "Do I look like I was a burden to my parents?" Yes.
So you would say prime rib, burger, ribeye at 3, and then where would you go?
Filet. I don't know, a sirloin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really care about the different cuts of steak. I know that's blasphemous coming from a farm boy. I get that. Prime rib's the only one that tastes different to me. The rest of them might as well be interchangeable as far as I'm concerned. I don't really like the big T-bones. I don't really like those, but yeah. The meat's fine. I still like. Go ahead.
I think sirloin's definitely the leanest cut, so it definitely ranks last for me because it's got the least amount of fat on it. The more fat, the better. So I'm a ribeye man. Isn't the prime rib, don't they let it ruin? Isn't that part of the aging process? Do you know anything about that?
Well, that would make sense as to why it has the color that it has.
There's something to that. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about. I just know surface level information, but it's like they let the meat age and it almost ruins somehow or another, but they preserve it.
I don't know. Like I said, it does seem to have a different color to it, but I'm not a meat guy.
Are you familiar with the trick with this part of the hand where you judge how this feels on what kind of steak you have done? Let me explain this. So if you go thumb to index finger, that's rare. So you touch that part of your, the bottom of your thumb, the thumb fat, I guess. And that you don't clench up at all. You just touch, literally just lightly touch your fingers. So index finger, that's supposed to be rare. And then middle finger is medium rare. And then the ring finger is medium, or maybe it's medium well, and then the pinky, feel how it gets harder?
Yeah.
When you touch different fingers?
Wouldn't medium rare be softer?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's rare, index finger. Middle finger's medium rare. And then it gets harder as you go toward the pinky. And then the pinky's I guess, well done.
Okay.
Old steak man taught me that trick.
Have you used it?
I haven't had any use for it, really. I guess I could apply to be a cook at a steakhouse, and I could do that in the interview.
And when they ask you what you bring to the table, be like, "Well, I don't know if you know this, but I can cook a steak just by touching my hands."
Listen, most steakhouse chefs don't know this, but I can show you a little trick here. Shows you I'm the man for the job.
The problem is, once you give up that trick, you're no longer valuable. Like, when your big thing of going to the museum was, well, did you know salmons come back to their stream? Well, guess what? Now I do. So now I never have to waste my time at the museum because you told me.
Well, there's a lot of other interesting stuff you learn about, but
you gave up the goods. Now I don't have to go because you told me the trick. I don't have to go now.
Just go to Griffith Observatory. That's not a big commitment. That's the only thing I request of you. It's just a beautiful view. You can take a picture and just gaze out over the view of the City of Angels.
I'm going to go, I'm going to get drunk, and I'm going to watch the Vols cut down the nets and get to the Final Four. And then I'm going to drive from L.A. to Phoenix and do it again that upcoming week.
Oh, is that really what you're going to do? If we win, you're just going to stay out there?
Perhaps.
It seems like a lot of hotel cost.
Perhaps.
I mean, you're staying with your friend in L.A., I guess, so I guess it wouldn't cost you extra. So
I wouldn't want to overstay my welcome.
Yeah, well,
because friend. I mean, I do consider him a friend, but not a friend that you can hang out with for like 5 days. I would be, if I'm there from Friday, like I'd have to be out there by like Monday or Tuesday, just because there are very few people that I would expect to put me up for 5 days in their town. He's not one of them.
Do you have any friends in Phoenix?
I actually have extended family out there. My stepbrother's, my stepsister's husband, Hector, you've heard me talk about him, like his brother, who I've known since high school or whatever, he lives out there. But I don't think I would ask to stay with them.
Thanks for letting me know. I drove through Phoenix last night and needed a place to stay.
I don't think I would contact them, so I definitely don't think that they would be happy with me letting you try to contact them either.
Phoenix seems like a pretty cool city. I've only driven through it twice. I haven't even stopped, but it seems like a neat place. A lot of cacti in Phoenix. Big green cacti.
That's plural for cactus.
For cactus. Look at the
anything
cactus.
Anything else on your rundown sheet of things we need to talk about?
Trader Joe's recalled 61,000 dumplings.
Anything else on your list of things we need to talk about?
That's about it. All I got is this just little notepad here with my notes.
Well, read it off. What all you got?
Okay, I got Champs.
I assume you mean the clothing store. What are they selling right now?
Plus size hats. No, I meant SEC Champs. We really didn't talk much about that, but that's what everybody's talking about today. See, that's kind of our strength as a duo, is we can talk about other things. You know, we just won a championship, but I'm sure that's all you guys talked about all day, so you're probably tired of talking about that. So
I am, but I'm interested in your thoughts on it, if you have thoughts on it.
Oh, I don't have a lot of thoughts, generally
that's
speaking.
Fine. Yeah, that's all good.
I'm kind of empty-headed, but it was fun to win. I mean, I called in the voluntary reaction.
Oh, did you? How'd that go?
I just made a slander at Davey and then just said hello to Russ, and I made 2 great points and left.
What were your points?
Well, point number 1 was that we are guaranteed single-digit losses this year, and a lot of times that's kind of how I judge a basketball season. Not so much how many games you win, but how few you lose. And any year that we lose fewer than 10, I feel like is a really good year. And so now it's impossible that we could lose 10 games. So the worst that we could finish would be 24-9. But the best that we could finish is 34-6.
I like that. Okay.
And my other point that I made was that we're destined to get knocked out of the Elite Eight according to history.
Why's that?
Which I hope that's not the case. I hope we get the Final Four finally. But if you look at the last 4 years, that's the trend. 2020 didn't make the tournament. 21 we lost the first round. 22 we lost the second round. 23 we lost the third round. So this year, if the pattern holds, we'll lose in the 4th round. Again, I hope that doesn't happen. I'm rooting for the Final Four. Duh. But
so you don't actually have any reasons why we're going to lose in the Elite Eight. It's just
it's just a pattern.
I don't know if that's long enough to be a pattern.
So anyway, I had SEC champs. I had Hotel New Mexico, Joshua Tree, Autry Museum, John Birthday, Man Spread Ass Cheeks, Tin Roof, Temecula, Was It a Sign? It was raining start to finish. Recall Trader Joe's Dumplings. And the last thing I had was Don't Stop, the Fleetwood Mac song.
Now, what if the trend there, what if the pattern, Cody, actually is that in even years we advance 2 rounds further?
I don't know.
So 2020, 0 rounds. 2022, 2 rounds. 2024, 4 rounds.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess you could do it that way. That's kind of less of a pattern, I think. But, I mean, that'll work.
I don't even know if that checks out. You've confused me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I need to get on the road.
Godspeed. Good luck.
All right. I'll let you know when I get somewhere.
Yeah, keep me posted. We might, not. If you actually get this job, we're probably not going to record, in the middle of the day anymore, obviously, because you don't need to get fired. And we might have to go down to once a week and do it only on Sundays or something, but we'll figure it out.
No, we'll still do twice a week. We do twice a week. We'll just have to adjust our recording times.
I can't do twice a week at 8 o'clock at night on, Mondays and Thursdays. I can't have my whole life revolve around this.
Oh, so it's not my fault then. It's on you.
No, it's not your fault. No, it's your fault we can't do it in the middle of the day anymore. We agreed to do it in the middle of the day, so it's your fault that was changing that.
Is it so much to ask that we record on Sunday night and Tuesday night or whatever?
I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot for me, depending on what time it is. I mean, depending on what time you get home. It's not 2 hours a week. You think it's 2 hours a week. It takes longer to get this up and to get the video up. The video, it takes YouTube an hour and a half just to get the damn video up. And, to get stuff cut out, that's 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
This is the best thing I have going in my life. You're going to deprive me of a 2-day-a-week podcast?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if you get this job and what your hours are. I'm just saying, I'm not committing to doing 2 times a week if one of them's going to be in the middle of the week at 7 or 8 o'clock at night Eastern. I have to be up. I work. I get up at 6 a.m. these days to be at work to entertain the masses at 7 a.m. I don't have time to be on the clock for that day. Theoretically, I'd be on the clock from basically 6 a.m. to like 11 p.m.
On the clock.
Yeah.
You just have a little podcast to do.
It's not a little podcast. I stress about things. I want my things to be good, so like I'd be thinking about it just with it hanging over my head. Not being able to go out and enjoy dinner and do something. I gotta get back. It's Thursday night.
I'll be working like 50 hours a week, but I'll make time for it for our audience.
Okay, I just don't know if you'll feel like doing it twice a week either, just for the record.
What do you think I am? Some kind of bum?
No, I'm saying when you start working 50 hours a week, you might be like, I kind of just want to be able to relax when I get home. I'm just saying we'll play it by ear. I'm not saying it one way or the other. I'm just throwing it out there. The schedule might change is all I'm saying.
We can do it in the early morning if we have to.
I get up at 6 a.m. I can't do it early in the morning. I can't get no earlier.
We'll do it at 5. I'll wake up at 4.
See you, bye.
We have a commitment. Bye.